Yes, we can.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you. I have an addition, Dave, to your report. I just talked to Ward, got off the phone.
Oh, okay, good.
I can, it's not much, but I can provide a little more information. So you give the background and I'll give that comment from Ward.
All right.
Who are we waiting on, Steve?
Steve is gonna be coming by audio.
Yes, he's on.
Okay.
He can hear us and we'll be able to
Can you
hear him.
hear Steve?
I can hear you, yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So Alex said hello.
Hi.
Okay, so so if everybody's present, let's get started. Roll call. Robert's here.
Johnson here.
All right. Jessica, do we have any visitors this early evening?
No, we do not this evening.
Okay, then let's go ahead and get started. In terms of the previous minutes of the June 8th meeting, any changes or corrections, anything of that nature for you, Ray?
No.
Okay, so approved then. All righty, then let's get this party started with Mr. Hunt.
Okay, first of all, on D, I'm going to talk about Via Piqueros and Sandy Creek. We have given the new plans over to Murrieta Construction, and they're working on a revised cost estimate for us for all the changes that were made since they last bid it. And they're going to get us numbers by July 23rd. And then we'll probably present that back to you at the next meeting in August and give you an idea. It should be really close to the same total number because we took a lot out, adding some stuff in. Should be within 5%, my guess. Prices for construction has gone up some, but we'll see how that goes. So that's that. The environmental on that is getting really close. We should have all our permits, as we're being told, by end of July, early September on Sandia Creek. And the contractor can get his crew out there mid-September. And that'll give them time to get it all finished and stuff before the big rainy season hits. And so, and everyone's saying we're in another drought. They don't see any difference in that. So we're not going to get a lot of rain like we did like last year. But anyway, if they start mid-September, even if we have rain, they should be far enough along to get everything taken care of and protected. It's their job to kind of protect things during any storm event. So that's progressing along. Nothing's really changed on that since our last meeting. So the next agenda item is Buena Vista.
Dave, if I could just add, I think you said end of July. I think you were meant end of August.
Well, yeah, I said end of July when we get our numbers from the
Oh, sorry.
And
Right.
I said end of August or early September for the permit.
Sorry, I'll keep my mouth shut then.
Okay, see, the old dog can still talk. Okay.
Except for Ron may need a hearing aid.
Yeah, maybe.
That's true. So anyway, any questions on Sandia Creek or Via Piqueros? If none, I'll move on.
Sounds pretty straightforward.
Yeah. Buena Vista. We got bids that came in this week on Buena Vista. Low bid was 450,000. And we had a high, what was the high, Ron? 800 and something?
It was like mid 800.
Mid 800s. You always get a high and a low, stuff like that. So the low bid was within our estimate. We were estimating in that same range. So that's good. We have some homework to do with the contractor to make sure that he can, how he's getting into the channels in agreement with what we said in the specifications and how he has to stay within the right of way and all that stuff and where he's getting paid for all that. So there's a few issues we're going to deal with him on. So we're not ready to bring it to a ward. And also, we got to wait till we get our environmental permit. So now here's some interesting things on the environmental permit. At the very beginning, Ron and the environmental team met with Riverside County and went over how our consultant should proceed and how they should go about doing their work on this, because a lot of things had changed in the pandemic and they changed the way they were going to do things. And this is a different path than what the Sandia Creek was done. That was it started earlier and went on its own path. And so they kind of changed things in the middle of between then. So anyway, they said we had to go through this certain route through Riverside County. And they put all the 3 agencies involved. And so we've done all that. All the technical reports are turned in and all that. Riverside County now has a little bit of I'm just going to say they're confused, because now they're saying that the county of Riverside has to be the agency submitting this, not Duluth. And we're saying, no, Duluth is what owns the streets, all that. We are the agency that can turn that in. And so we're going through some learning curve on everyone's part of why they're concerned about this. And so we have a meeting that they're scheduling in 2 weeks with all the important people involved to go over that. And in the meantime, Jim is doing some work and discussing with the county or county staff. And Jim, do you mind talking about that, since you're the one that did a direct conversation with him?
Yeah, basically, it didn't make a lot of sense to me Monday morning, and so when I started getting involved in making calls. But essentially, Dave referred to them as county agencies, but they're more or less independent environmental agencies, the water people and the biological people and all that. And they come together and they call themselves RCA, Conservation Authority, Riverside Conservation Authority, I believe.
Right.
And they've merged 3 operations into one. Well, last week, at the end of the week, Dave sent over an email to me saying everything's ready to submit to these environmental agencies. They do it all together through this RCA, and you need to sign basically the application that will abide by, whatever they promulgate and blah, blah, blah. Just a typical application kind of thing. I signed it, I emailed it back to them, and it was carbon copied to all these different people. And then in the afternoon, all these, it was like, something with a bunch of springs in it, opened up, and all these emails coming back. And then from the head person, that Duluth doesn't qualify to apply for this project. It's got to go to the county. And then the county would have to decide whether or not they wanted us to be able to do this project. So on Friday afternoon, I'm making snide comments like, well, good, the county can send along a check to pay for it too, and blah, blah, blah. Well, anyway, we went back and forth, and I've been on the phone with various upper levels of this agency. And then it dawned on me, wait a minute, RCA, isn't that those meetings that Ward goes to? So I called up Ward, and I said, hey, Ward, you know anything about these people? He goes, well, I'm their general counsel too. And I said, well, I guess you have a conflict of interest, but I'm your client at this very moment. I want you to get us out of this mess and tell them that we're not part of the county. And he goes, no, you're right, you're not. And so in the environmental world, okay, he understood exactly what they were saying, but then he understood what the exemptions are for us. So I just got an email. He said, I know you're in engineering, call me tomorrow, but I have already made some calls and there's alternatives for you. So it looks like Ward's going to be able to get this back on track for us and not cost us a lot of time. Because I said to Ward on the phone conversation a few minutes ago, it's about time, Ward. I don't want to spend another year convincing Riverside County we should do this. You know, like we should be exempt from that. That's ridiculous. And he understood that. So it's a positive email. I don't know what he's going to do, but I'll know in the morning. So I'm hoping that it's now, based on the information that you presented, Dave, that this is going to be a holdup, but probably not as monumental of a holdup as we thought it could be Monday morning.
Yeah. Monday morning, it was kind of like, all right, let's just throw our hands up and start all over again. You know, but it's not that bad.
And
And
this morning we thought, you know, in the meeting, we had Ron and Dave and I had a meeting this morning, and it didn't look quite as that bad, but now it's looking much better. So it's kind of nice to have an attorney in high places. So,
that is right.
yeah, so
Thank you.
we'll have more like next week by the board meeting, and hopefully it's going to be that Ward got it straightened out. And well, just there's exemptions, like you said, there's exemptions for school districts and exemptions for water districts. They don't have to go through all that. And so anyway, it sounds like he's going to get us that exemption, and we'll process it the same way.
Okay, good.
Hopefully crisis averted, but
Yeah.
more to come.
So I can't tell you when we'll get all our permits for going to Vista yet until we get through this. But what the good news is, on the contractor, we put in the contract that his bids are good for 180 days. So that gives us plenty of time to get the stuff, and if need be, if it has to get pushed off into, you know, early spring, it would all work. So we were kind of prepared for that, just in case something happened on that one. So anyway, we'll know more at the board meeting. Then we will update you again then. How's that?
One question that could come up, and I
Okay.
think I asked it this morning. So why didn't we run into this problem with Sandia Creek? And I actually approached Ward with that question too. Most likely it's the snag, which hopefully isn't going to be a snag, but it probably didn't occur because Sandia Creek's been kicking around for years. Because there was the first washout before I was here. And then the washout in 2019 took the whole road out. But this is the second environmental, I call it EIR, environmental assessment report or whatever, that has been done on Sandia Creek. So it's likely that the processes have changed in the procedures, the protocol. We certainly know that the agencies have merged to try to be more timely in their processing of these applications. So that's probably going to be the answer, but hopefully this thing will have hit this administrative glitch, and then we'll be on down the road. So that's keep my fingers crossed.
And it's even frustrating to the Riverside, the TCA staff, because of all the different things they have to go through. Ron has talked in the past about how he talked to the staff, and they're not even sure how they're going to process this through all the new system. And they've been on a learning curve also. So, but you know, we gave them all this stuff, back in February, Ron, and they've gone through several reviews before they do this final review. So it's not like this is the first time they've seen this. They have seen this at least 3 times. So, and they're all been happy. So we'll turn it in. It should not have any big deal to go with it. Should be just fine. That's our hope.
Okay.
Oh.
Jim, just keep Ray and I informed if you can before the meeting next Wednesday. So we're prepared either way.
I'll correct you
Thanks.
report.
Thanks,
Okay,
Dave.
you're yeah, I'll do that.
Okay, that's it for me.
All righty. And where are we at? traffic issues.
Okay, we're gonna try this a little bit different. Can you hear me clearly?
Not very good.
Very good.
Yeah.
Uh,
Is
Right,
this a better
I
connection?
think I can do it for you, Steve. Steve, you want me to just do it?
Steve, did you hear that?
No, I didn't. Say it again.
Would you like, Jim to give your report?
I'll do it.
That's fine. That's fine.
Okay. Well, we have this bum named Steve who's a traffic engineer. Oops, I hope we didn't hear that. All right, now I'll give his report for him. This is the location of where the CMS sign is right now. And my screen, I'm missing a part of it. Just a minute. Very technologically, see if I can get, no. Okay, well, via Santa Rosa, and I think it's Carancho. The next streets are Avenida del Oro, Sycamore. I hope you read that. You read too fast.
Apologize.
They're continuing, the purpose of the CMS to get people to watch their speeds. So next slide. Continue checking the visibility of driveways for any new construction, monitoring traffic control by the different contractors, whether it be Edison, whether it be private home builders or the cable company, and verifying that any view obstructions at intersections are taken care of. And I told Steve today that I was out driving around and I was looking at intersections. And over the past few years, we've really improved that visibility, at least in my opinion, the ones I was having a look at. Avenida del Oro and Rancho Cal, speed limit reduction from 55 to 45 was approved by the supervisors June 15th. So it becomes effective Thursday. And hopefully those signs will be posted because I know Steve stays on the county folks since he knows them over there. So that reduction should be visible to the motorists probably within the next 30 days. Dos Rios event parking, the events are no longer being held at that location, and that seems to have resolved itself. Next page. You can see some of the things, real estate sign that's obstructing, and we go out and get them to move it. Well, there's the difference. You can see in the second slide. Next screen. But I guess that's it. It was a short report this time. Thank God. So anyway, anybody have any maintenance or traffic kind of questions at this point that you pass along to Steve?
I do. Just real quick, back to the 55 to 45. Was that effective the 16th or the 15th? I
No,
only
that's
saw the one,
30-day
the 7.
30-day wait. Anytime you pass an ordinance, which is a speed limit, after the passage, it has to wait for 30 days. So that would be effective then July 15th. And Steve he'll probably report back at the board meeting when they're going to get those signs changed. The county crews.
They anticipate
That
it
might-
next week or so.
That might be something, excuse me, Jim, that might be something to add to the list when you come to the Duluth Women's picnic.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay.
We'll do the maintenance now.
Oh, there's maintenance. Okay. Jessica, can you roll maintenance? This is probably I'm more familiar with this. Here we go. Questions. What's the next slide? Next page. Well, you can see, here's a photograph of the work they're doing right now. Doing backfilling the shoulders to bring them back up to grade. Because, you know, as the winter goes by, oftentimes the dirt shoulders recede. You know, they get kind of washed away in the rain. And you can get, you know, a couple inches up to 4 and some inches. And when a motorist accidentally drifts over and then gets caught, I think 4 inches is the maximum to be able to bounce your car back onto the pavement. But oftentimes they overcorrect, which can create a head-on kind of a. So what they're doing right now is putting the shoulders where they observe these situations, backfilling them with dirt and rock to bring them back up to the level of the pavement. This month they've crack sealed on Rio Linda and Sycamore Mesa, which is an ongoing project. They sent out 54 letters to residents that need to trim back their shrubbery along the roadway, and 42 have complied and 12 we're still working on. That's a pretty good percentage of compliance. People are willing to work with us on that. There was damage bulletin board at Via Vaquero and Sandy Creek. The driver was identified and has insurance, and we have billed the insurance for the repair of the bulletin board. So we'll get all of our money back on that, plus a little bit. Next slide. Via Tornado emergency trench repair. We met with Rancho Water to verify that it was their trench. What it is there was a more or less a pothole in the street, but it appeared that it had been a trench for some work that had been done in the past. And Rancho Water agreed that it was their trench that they had actually cut our road. So they will be reimbursing us for all the materials and labor for repair of that pothole. This time of year, they continue clearing weeds, exposing the fire hydrants along the roads, and cutting the weeds along the graded shoulders. Next slide. La Cruz Fire Refuge Area. If you remember a couple years ago or a year ago, residents at the end of La Cruz said that they had no way out in the event of a fire because La Cruz just ends just short of the golf course, and the property there was all junked up with construction equipment, water district stuff, weeds. Anyway, Dustin made it his project to go out and clean this up since fire season is coming. And if they did need to get out and drive across the golf course, they would be able to do that, not be obstructed by all this material. So Jessica, can you go back one page to show before, what it looked like before? Okay, see all the debris out there, just kind of thrown out there. Water district, and some of that probably was one of our projects, I'm not sure. Anyway, it wasn't too pretty, and what you can't see in the distance there is kind of a drop off, so you couldn't have actually driven onto the golf course very easily. So now, Jessica, go to the after shot again. Much cleaner and neater, so the folks on La Cruz should be happy that we listened. This really probably isn't a district project, but we thought for public relations, and Dustin thought he could get it cleaned up, which obviously he could. So there's a PR gesture that we did for the people at La Cruz. Next
Very
slide.
nice.
Well, we've got two small drain projects that we had gotten bids from outside contractors to do. Both of them were 17,000 and another one 23,000. But Steve and the staff looked at this and determined that if they just went out and rented the equipment and did the job themselves, we could save a lot of money, like 30,000 bucks. So anyway, we looked at the projects. I met with them, and my concern was, you know, they don't get in too far over their head. And it looked okay that it really was something they could do. We had a conference with Dave also to make sure from an engineering perspective that we would be doing it, you know, properly. And Dave gave the green light, so they're going to be doing this in I think it's scheduled for next week, and we're going to give them a try. But you know, we've in the past year been kind of phasing into doing some of these contract projects ourselves, and there's big money to be saved here. And the question in the past has been whether our crew had the capability and the knowledge, but Dustin has quite a lot of construction, private sector construction experience. So when he looks at them, he oftentimes thinks that it's something we can do in-house. So we're going to try. We'll make this an experimental project, and maybe we'll keep taking on more of these projects in-house. So that's that project, and that's the conclusion of the maintenance report. So that concludes my report.
Very good.
And I
Very
guess,
good. Great job.
Steve, if you can hear that.
Yeah, I heard that. Thank you.
Thank you.
And usually
Okay.
I've been giving an update on the gas tax matter. All of it is really, at this point, been assigned over to Ward and B&K, looking at the legal issues in preparation for us to try to get the county to add our roads to their list of state controller and then pass through the funds to us. And so there hasn't been a lot of additional work. All of that we're waiting on legal to provide that to us. So don't have much to report there. So all relatively quiet right now.
Okay. All righty. Anything else? That's it, kiddos? Wow. Very good. Well, thank you very much for all the updates, and thank you, Dave and Ron and Steve. And like I said, Jim, if you can keep Ray and I informed about what comes about with Ward on that. And yeah, I think that should cover it. Anything else, gentlemen? If not, then have a good evening, and otherwise we'll see you all next week, okay?
Sounds good.
Buddy, have a great night.
Hey,
Thank you, Jessica.